Okay, for number 3, I want to write a possible equation for this graph. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the important information that this graph shows. So one thing that it shows is that I have a x-intercept at -3, which means that in the numerator, after it's simplified, I'm going to have, so this should not be in the denominator, this factor, it should only be in the numerator. X plus 3 should be in the numerator. The other thing I noticed about this, and I have to make sure I'm looking out for this, is that there's a bounce at that x-intercept, which means it's a special x-intercept that's duplicated in the numerator. So I know in the numerator, I have one factor, x plus 3 squared. I also have another x-intercept at 6, 7, 8, 8. So that means that I have the factor in the numerator after it's simplified, x minus 8, and it should not be something that cancels in the top and the bottom. I also notice another important point, there's a hole here where x is equal to -4. So then that is a factor that should cancel. Toby. Just stop right now. So that's a hole. So that factor of x plus 4 should be in the numerator and in the denominator as well. Another thing that I noticed is that my horizontal asymptote or my end behavior is described by the line y equals 2, which means that I should have, first of all, the same highest power in the numerator and the denominator. And second of all, I should have the ratio of coefficients should be 2, which means I should have a 2 in the top and a 1 as a coefficient for my highest term in the bottom. So I'm just going to put a 2 in the top for that. Then I have my vertical asymptotes. So this one that's here in between these two pieces, I'm just going to say it's at x equals 2. Maybe you think it's at x equals 1 or x equals 3, but I'm going to say it's at x equals 2. And I also want to notice that the graph is approaching that vertical asymptote in the same direction from both sides, which means it's a special vertical asymptote. So I should see it duplicated in the denominator. So I should see the factor x minus 2 squared in the denominator. I also have a vertical asymptote, and this one's clearly at x equals -7. And so that means I have another factor in the denominator of x plus 7. And my highest power in the numerator is x to the 4th power. My highest power in the denominator is x to the 4th power. I wanted n to be equal to d for me to have a horizontal asymptote that wasn't 0. That was equal to a number. And so I did that, and I made sure to include that too for the correct ratio. And this is my answer for what a possible equation would be.